How you doing, man? What's up?
Boom. Look at that contact.
I'm
Congrats.
blessed. Dude.
Uh,
It's a size going occasion. Rainmaker just raised or just announced its raise of $25 million for our Series A.
Fantastic.
let's go.
Congratulations,
Let's go.
Augustus. 25 million. Give us the breakdown on the deal. Who's in?
Okay, yeah. So it was led by Lower Carbon. So that
Okay.
was Ryan Orbuch and Clay Dumas. Chris Saka founded the fund. They're really interested in adaptation tech now, right? Like in the face of severe weather and changing climate, how do we build technologies that can make us more resilient, right? So more resilient to drought, more resilient agriculture, more from cloud seeding is one way to facilitate that. And so they were stoked. Naval Ravikant, sage philosopher king of tech bros everywhere. He was in, I think, just because we went for like a really long romantic walk in Manhattan Beach one time. And then Greg Bernstein from Ace Cap, Sovereigns Cap, some really great Christian mentors and leaders for me. And then Drover Ventures as well. Drover Ventures, William Clark, great dudes. So that was the deal there.
Talk about what the process was for the raise, because from what I know, this is being announced now, but got done a while back. It was from everything I heard, an extremely competitive process. What were you really looking for in that lead check?
Yeah, I'll tell you that, and then I'll show you all of the crazy shit that we've been working on with the money since we actually did raise it, because that's the more exciting part. What we were interested in then was technical sophistication. Cloud seeding, unlike even a lot of deep tech, is an inordinately complicated business. You need to be really good at weather modeling, at air soil chemistry, at radar, at a bunch of other electronics. Meteorological radar is crazy unto itself. The avionics of the drone, boutique anti-icing systems, new chemistries for new cloud seeding agents. And so here is some of the stuff that we had to diligence our investors on, whether they'd be able to understand what went into building novel meteorological radar.
Wait, and to be clear, this is all behind you is all renders, right? Like this is
this
Yeah, he's
is
on a
this
green
is
screen.
this is a green screen.
great CAD model. So anyway, in 6,000 square feet, which is nuts, we started high rate production of our drones, which are anti-icing capable drones. They're the only class 1 UAS in NATO that can fly in severe icing. And so this is one of our Elijahs right here. So it has thermal anti-icing systems, ridiculously difficult to engineer air soil dispersion system that tunes the particle size that you're emitting into the cloud exactly as you wish. And then over here, I can't even begin to show you this. Actually, that's probably proprietary. I won't show you our boards, but here's some more material going into some more drones. Here's the next unit of our radar that's going to Argentina, our second international deployment. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Here is all the proprietary radar stuff because we had to design our own boards. And then on the other side of the house is like our novel chemistry work. That, by the way, I'm taking this out of Aaron Slodov's playbook, just like walking around a factory.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
love a tour.
That's the fun stuff that's going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, talk about the use of funds. It seems like you're buying a lot of stuff, hiring some people. What's the breakdown? Probably doing mostly like founder-led growth and sales, but where is the money going generally?
Yeah, so I would say it was probably something to the effect of like 30, 30, 20, 20. So 30% of all the money that we raised is dedicated to designing our own meteorological radar and atmospheric sensing platform. So that platform is called Eden. That is radar, LIDAR, long wave infrared, air soil probes, pressure, temperature, humidity probes, and anemometers. It's one of the more, if not the most sophisticated and low price point atmospheric sensing systems on the market in the world right now. And the lead time is only 5 weeks instead of 9 months.
Yeah, and out of curiosity, did you try to buy that off the shelf initially and then realize that you had to build it yourself? What did that look like? Because that feels like its own. That feels like its own product line. Although it doesn't sound like you're selling it to individually yet.
Yeah. So basically everything at Rainmaker, I am grateful and happy to be making money and eventually returning capital for our pre-seed investors. But like our thesis initially was like, well, we're going to use off-the-shelf radar, off-the-shelf drones, off-the-shelf chemicals, off-the-shelf weather models, and just be like a really good systems integrator. And then we got punched in the face like 100 times and decided we had to vertically integrate everything. So tried to buy that radar COTS, but there's one guy in Germany that makes them for 51 grand, and they take 9 months, if not 12 months, to get there. Our system is about 5 times more cost effective, more affordable, and the lead time is 5 weeks. So we did that. About 30% of the funds went to designing Elijah, our Class 1 UAS that's capable of anti-icing. That was a big thing. That about 10%, 20% was for novel research, so fancy probes so that we could detect the right conditions in cloud, validate our effect. And then the remainder went to GA, fighting Florida, fighting for bigger budgets, that sort of thing.
Talk about acquisitions going forward. I mean, Anduril just announced another acquisition. It seems like in defense tech and hard tech, there are assets that can be, you can create more value if you roll them into a larger, more agile, more founder-led organization. Are you looking at that? Have you done it? Are you thinking about it in the future? How do you think about building versus buying everything?
Yeah, so one of the really strategically important things that Rainmaker planned to do from the outset was roll up the existing cloud seeding market. If you look at the market as it stands, it ostensibly doesn't exist. There's like a few legacy operators that are kind of cowboys that blast clouds randomly, and states or municipalities or even like Saudi will pay for it because they're so desperate for water they're willing to try anything, even if it's technically unsophisticated. We bought North American Weather Consultants, which was a old school cloud seeding company out of Utah, out of Salt Lake City. Did so with project finance, which was great. Shout out to my finance director, John Madigan, killer. And then we injected our tech into it. The organization was extraordinarily well run there. We've retained everybody because they're great operators. But we injected our tech, upsold that, have been getting better yields because of it, more transparent reporting to our customers. I think that we'll continue to roll up the existing market. I also think that there's a lot of novel probe and material science companies that Rainmaker's targeting as well. So anywhere where we can inject our tech or just accelerate growth by deploying stuff faster and at a better margin is part of the plan.
How much pushback did you get initially around people that were like, I love the idea of what you're doing, but I don't see, but like I'm trying to find comps in the market and I can't find any. Is this a market? And I'm assuming your answer was like, well, the tech didn't exist and we're actually creating the market. But what was your, was that your, kind of primary answer there? It seems kind of obvious in hindsight that there could be a technological sort of barrier between the demand for something like cloud seeding and the ability to actually deliver on it.
Yeah, absolutely got pushback on that. Like a lot of what we had to say was like, well, this is actually deep tech and frontier tech. Sorry, there's no comp. Like, do you want to participate in something net new or not? And so our investors were really solid about that. But the thing that I did say, which has pros and cons looking back, is, SpaceX is like a launch services provider for now. We're a cloud seeding services provider. Rather than get stuff to orbit as a function of our service, we build all of the hardware, we operate all of the hardware, and then get precipitation down on the ground. I think over time we'll probably trend more towards an exorbitantly high margin utility, just because cloud seeding water is the cheapest water that you can produce. But also we'll start buying up land too, and then look very strange, maybe more like Monsanto or a hedge fund.
Alcatraz is in the news. What's the coolest thing we could possibly do with Alcatraz? What's your pick for the next move with Alcatraz?
I think to catalyze more conspiracy theories, putting heat on us, we should put a huge EMF array like HARP there to flood the San Francisco Bay.
What would that do?
We don't know. We don't know yet. We're gonna find out. Maybe last question, but like, what's the revenue mix look like right now? Because I only know last investor update I saw from Rainmaker, I was pretty blown away by the traction. But what, talking generally, where does the revenue come from? Is it individual, like local governments, states, countries, private, industry, et cetera?
Yeah. So first of all, Jordy, you'll find out soon, but we've doubled our realized revenue since our last investor update.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah. And so I would say about, what's the math? 85%, 86% is domestic. The rest is international. And then another about 75% of all the domestic revenue comes from state governments. So departments of natural resources, departments of agriculture. The remaining 25 is small municipal or ski resorts that need more
Very
snow.
cool.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Anyway.
And when you last question, when you talk to these end customers, I imagine, are you feeling, like, I'm assuming you're feeling the product market fit where they're like, please do this, like we need this, and I'm assuming at no point were they like, oh, I don't, why would we want more precipitation? But maybe talk about how those conversations go.
Someone made a really salient quote tweet of Gary Tan's post of like the GIF of the whatever bouncy ball game where like when you hit PMF, everything like runs away. Yeah. Like deep tech is not like that at all. Deep tech, the demand is like so obvious from the jump. People have been desperate from the very beginning when we like didn't even have a drone to fly, saying like, hey, if you can figure this out, we would love to buy more rain and buy more snow. It was just a matter of getting to the point where we actually had an operable system, and everything changed for us in October 2024 because we picked up the entire company, moved it to a rural hamlet in Oregon to do more intensive testing, and then everything really accelerated, and we got the system ready and to a point where we could sell it, and people are desperate for more water, so that's been straightforward.
Amazing. Cool. Well, great having you on. Congrats to you and the whole team on the milestone, and I can't wait for the next investor update.
We'll see you soon.
Godspeed, guys. Thanks.
Godspeed.
Bye.